Hey everyone, this is Steli Efti with Close.io, and in today's video I'm going to share with you an approach, a philosophy that you can use anytime that you have to work on a project or deliver some kind of a work product within your team in a way that will avoid wasting any type of time. You know the concept of minimal viable products, right? And lean startup. If you don't, make sure to check it out and read those books and blog posts and get into the philosophy of it. But at the essence of it is making sure that you don't work on something forever in a bubble, and then when you go out of that bubble, it bursts into the reality that nobody gives a shit, right? You build something that nobody cares. You build something that customers don't really want, people don't really value, that doesn't solve a problem that people or companies have. In order to avoid working on something and launching something that ultimately fails, the idea is to create a minimal viable version of that thing and launch it in a way as early as possible or put it in touch with real customers and do customer development to get feedback and to be able to iterate and improve until you unlock product market fit, until you figure out that you really now have something that works and that people want. So now you can really, put fuel to the fire and launch this thing and grow it. The same philosophy applies at any type of product, not just when you launch websites or applications or technology products. Any type of work product can also be, can benefit from utilizing that philosophy, that principle. Because here's the frustrating scenario, and it's frustrating from both ends. You get a job, you work at a startup, let's say you work at the marketing team, and the CEO has this big task for you to put together this new analytics dashboard with all these numbers so that there's a much better overview of what the marketing performance looks like, right? And you have like a very generic meeting. The CEO sets the tone, throws out all the things that she wants, and gives you a week to deliver that. Most people, what they do is they'll go back with that task, and within their own interpretation, they're going to try to utilize that week to launch the perfect product, to deliver on the last day of the week that spreadsheet, dashboard, whatever it is, in the perfect way, exactly the way that the CEO hopefully envisioned it. And oftentimes what happens is that, just like with other products, you don't quite hit product market fit. And in this case, you might have done something that was your interpretation of what the CEO wanted, but when she looks at it, she goes, no, this is not what I had in mind. Why didn't you do it more this way? Or why doesn't this cover more of this type of stuff? And then you have to do it again. And it's frustrating for both ends. It's frustrating for the CEO, a week has passed and she didn't get what she needed or expected from you. It's very unmotivating for you. You've spent all this time, you went down this rabbit hole just to figure out that you went wrong somewhere on the very first day of that week. And if you'd only catch that, you could have saved yourself a lot of time. And now you've spent all this time working on something that ultimately was wrong or at least not as useful. How do you avoid that? I find it fascinating that most people, whenever you give them a task within a team, their natural instinct is to disappear, work on it, and then come back and go, ta-da, and have the perfect thing, right? I don't know what the hell is wrong with all of us, but we want to all come out of, out of the curtain and just in a bombastic fashion present something that's going to be impressive to people. And because we want that, we avoid any type of contact, we avoid any type of feedback and collaboration during the process of working on that thing, on that project, whatever it is. And that's a fatal flaw. Here's what I want you to do instead. Think of anything you do as a minimal viable product. Oh, the CEO wants this, new version, this spreadsheet analytics dashboard, whatever the hell it is. Cool. She gave you some idea of what that should look like. Cool. Don't try to create that perfect version in one big step. Instead, think about it in versions and say to yourself, what's a minimal viable version of this vision? What's the most important key ingredients here? It doesn't matter if you take a piece of paper and you just made an outline of it, or if you take a whiteboard and you put together the numbers and you just make a mock-up of it. It doesn't matter if you create a spreadsheet version of that dashboard, but it doesn't quite have all the numbers. It just has the outline, or it has the numbers, but it doesn't have any of the visual graphs. Whatever it is, create a version 1 and create it in a day and ask for feedback. Collaborate with the people that are going to be involved with this. Ping the CEO and say, hey, here's a version 1. Here's a mock-up. Here's the first version of just the numbers. Here's what I'm thinking. Is this the right direction? Talk to other people in the marketing team. What's missing here? What's lacking? What could be better? Every single day during that week, make sure that you create feedback loops and that you collaborate and whenever you're off course, you give people a chance to give you feedback so you can course correct yourself, so that by the end of the week, you've arrived at a final destination, at a product, at a project, at an output that fits, that will make people happy, that will deliver value, that will also make everybody understand why the final product is where it is, why the work that you deliver is the way that it is. This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a dashboard, if it's a PowerPoint presentation. It doesn't matter if it's some research, if somebody wants you to figure out some numbers, whatever it is, you should always collaborate. You should always think of breaking down that big project in smaller ones, making sure that at each step you collaborate, you get feedback, you show transparency, so that everybody has input. So if you make mistakes, that can be caught early, so that by the end of the time, doesn't matter if it's a week, a month, a quarter, however long you work on it, you've delivered something that fits, you deliver something that works, and you didn't spend weeks or months on something that at the end, surprisingly, you find out people hate, or is something completely different than people wanted. Or even if it is something they wanted, sometimes you deliver exactly what people told you to deliver, but what they wanted you to deliver was a bad idea. And they had to see it to realize that. That's frustrating as well, right? Don't make that mistake. In the future, when you work on projects, think minimal viable version, think transparency, and think collaboration. Create feedback loops, make sure people see your work, make sure people comment on the work, make sure people give you feedback and, confirm that you're on the right track or help you get there. If you see yourself more as the steward of the project versus the person that needs to do everything from A to Z all on your own in a dark, cold, lonely room, and then jump out of that room and impress everyone with your genius, you got it all wrong. I hope that this is going to help some people avoid those mistakes, not just from a, not just from a position of executing and operating and working on the project, but also if you're a manager, if you're the CEO, the founder, and you give people tasks, don't just give them these massive, maybe sometimes not quite as clear tasks or clearly defined tasks, and then you don't want to hear anything about it anymore, and you want them and expect them to deliver perfection at the end. No, make sure that you tell them you want to check in along the way. Make sure that you tell them this is a collaborative effort. Make sure you tell them you want to hear how things are going and be a resource for them and be a tool for them so that they deliver something that works. And make sure that you coach your people to approach things that way so everybody collaborates, everybody thinks in minimal viable versions, and make sure that they don't work on things for way too long and go totally off track in the wrong direction without having any help or anybody else getting them back on track, back on their way. I hope this was useful. I'm interested to hear what your experiences have been, so make sure to comment on this video on how you make sure to keep on track, not waste any time when you work on projects, and really deliver something that is exactly what the team needed and wanted. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Lots and lots of videos about how to collaborate with people, how to communicate effectively, how to do sales, how to successfully be an entrepreneur. And make sure to go to blog.close.io and subscribe to our blog. Lots of amazing content for hackers and hustlers out there. I wish you an amazing, amazing day.
Do you want to manually log calls in your sales CRM, or do you want more of this? Close.io helps you close more deals with less effort. Try it free at close.io.